Nice. Alright, we all ready? Mason, you got
We're
the...
recording.
Oh, is the mic on?
Mic's on.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Because we have to ask.
Has it ever not been?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Come on.
I can't recall a time. It's been at least...
Oh, it's been at least a couple of years.
It's been at least a season.
It's been a good
So it's
chunk.
bound to happen soon then.
But boy,
We're due.
when it does happen, it hurts. It always hurts the same amount.
Yeah.
It never hurts less. It always hurts more. You think it's like tattoos as you get older. It's just like, oh, you think in your 20s?
Oh, what's you see you can relate to in this room with that?
We'll get you some tattoos. We'll get you some tattoos now, and then in 5 years we'll do it again. So this will all make sense to you. Anyways, welcome to a very trivia-filled episode of the Movie Podcast, only based on what's happening after the episode. Thanks, Annabeth. We're your hosts today. It's Annabeth, Jill, Nathan, Dylan, and Mason in reverse order this time. Yeah, we're getting flexible. That's how you gotta keep the mind neuroplasticity really good. You gotta change it up.
Yeah, I did a Wordle today. Does that count?
No.
Oh.
Yeah. On today's episode, we're talking about what, Annabeth?
500 Days of Summer.
Well, that's fitting. It's like winter now.
It is winter now,
It's like-
so, have some summer in your
They
life.
did cram 500 days into like a very short summer. They just upped the heat level.
Yeah.
To make it
Yeah.
500 days.
500 Celsius of summer?
Yeah.
I don't know how much that is. Europe fans, let us know in the comments below. What is 500 degrees
Europeans.
Celsius?
It's more like
Europeans.
Game of Thrones, where it's like they don't have a winter for years.
Yeah.
and that's where
And then
this
And then they
comes
just
from.
have death.
Bad one. Yes.
And they have Mad
And
Max.
then the long dark comes.
Yes. God.
Anytime Nathan makes a Game of Thrones, right, I'm there for it.
Yeah.
I need more of them.
He still hasn't watched the last season, and that's for the best.
He watched half of it.
Look, the Night King died and the show ended.
Yep. You know what?
That's where the show ended.
That tracks.
Last
It's
two
a good
episodes?
ending.
No,
It was good.
didn't happen.
Yeah.
Annabeth, although this is not what 500 Days of Summer is about, what is 500 Days of Summer about?
So, 500 Days of Summer is the story of Tom, who is a guy who meets his perfect woman, basically, he thinks, Summer. And it's just the story of their relationship, the ups, the downs, all the in-betweens over the course of 500 days. Yeah.
Of summer.
Of summer.
Get it?
Of summer.
Coincidentally, 500 days on the nose.
Yeah, right on the nose.
Which I like that.
That feels planned.
It does, but I like that. That
Pretty
was,
convenient.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Good,
nice
good,
solid
good
number.
for storytelling.
Mm-hmm. It's a
Good
good
for a movie title.
It's a good title name. You know
Yes.
what? Something this movie doesn't
376 days.
Trash.
Doesn't
Yeah.
really.
Was this a book?
No.
get- No.
It
I
does
feel
feel
it
like
feels
it.
like it
I
should
could
be,
see this
right?
being a book because you could just like have the chapters be like, they could be like you could have the chapters in a book, but they could be like numbered in
Right.
like
Even
out
in
of
the order.
sequence.
Yeah,
Right.
like they did it in the movie.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. This movie looks like it's adapted from a book. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, and to your point, right? Like, even every little part is like a chapter.
yeah,
or
like
section.
that's what I was gonna say. Is like it's 500 days and it's framed in like picking different days back and forth across that period of time.
Yeah, surprisingly original screenplay and original
Yeah.
movie. So
And
Apparently, it's adapted like 75% from one of the screenwriters' real lives.
I
So,
believe that. Yeah.
and the little dedication in the beginning about Jenny Beckman or whatever, that's a real person.
Yeah.
So that was
That's-
funny.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely got quirky right away,
Mhm.
I think, with the narration style and the, just even the parts when, like, the narrator is describing, what's her name? Summer.
So yeah. Oh boy.
What's her name?
On our next episode of trivia, it's gonna be in 500 Days of Summer.
What
Who
was the main
What is
girl's
the
name?
of the love interest at the beginning of the film? Mason for 5 points.
No. Lost. We lost it.
Winter.
So, shit. No, I something I really like about this movie is that it still had that indie charm to it still. Like, when you're watching it, it has the little, the little odd sketching moments. The one that sticks out is, like, he walks out from we're leaping a little bit ahead, we'll go back to the beginning later, but after
the party.
what's pretty much the engagement party, effectively.
Yeah.
And he goes down, and they're like, it's him drawing the city, and it's just him sketching the background, and then it starts erasing it. It's all the little touches and stuff like that that just has that like indie flavor to it. And I don't know, that hit really well. It didn't feel like it overdid it in a way that was like distracting or annoying, but there were some things here that didn't feel overproduced,
Yeah.
and in a way that kept the movie interesting still on the rewatch for me.
Yeah. It was very. it was very, I don't want to say it was very produced, but it felt not overproduced. You know, it was
right.
very
It wasn't
like,
streamlined, right?
Yeah, it's like here's all of these little details, all these homages to other movies, all of these like unique storytelling pieces, and then but it doesn't feel like too much. Also, it came out in 2009, so
Yeah.
I feel like things that came after it maybe felt a little more on the nose, but this was kind of like, you know, back in the day, so
Yeah, less
I
used
don't
to be
know.
more. Like
Yeah.
between this and Garden State, I think they both kind of ring as like I mean,
Juno.
and Juno, right? Like they were all hitting this tone of like kind of hitting just the right amount of like hijinks and extra,
mm-hmm.
like where it didn't feel fat, but like the extra like bells and whistles were nice, right?
Mhm.
Now I would say if I watch a lot of like the indie films currently, it feels like there's too much of that just to try to separate them.
Yeah, it's
But
like
it
more
takes away.
gimmicky after you've seen movies
Right.
that hit it really well.
Right, like it's like watching Baby Driver and see a movie be like pretty much built around a score, and then see other movie like and then watch Suicide Squad, and then you're just like, wow, they just had a good soundtrack that they just put the whatever they fucking could, you know? Like, there's a notable differences between it right amount, and so credit to the movie, I think it does just the right amount in that way.
Speaking of soundtrack, there are very few movies where I will have like basically downloaded the entire soundtrack, and this is very much one of them. I think that with Feist, I mean, you've got Temper Trap, you've got so many, talking about indie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This thing
This is an indie
screams
soundtrack.
indie music.
Is Wolf Mother?
Wolf Mother's on
Mother's in
there.
there.
Are
Yep.
they indie though?
Nah.
But I don't know.
Maybe not
you know.
everyone being indie, but just like
Yeah, sure.
like the
Yeah.
Smiths, like I mean, there's a big
Yeah.
concentration on those or on that. But like I don't know, just about every single song, you got a lot of
Regina Spektor.
Regina Spektor. The engagement party is actually like one that lives rent free in my head. That song, the Us,
Oh, yeah, that one
Or
is a
the-
good one.
is a hero. Anyways,
Mhm.
but yeah, it's just I love the soundtrack. I will not speak highly enough about that.
Yeah. Jill, between this soundtrack and Spider-Man 2, which do you prefer? On soundtrack alone.
What?
I can't name a single song in either movie.
Can you
Wait,
name
wait.
one from the first one?
Can-
Wait,
There's
which
two in the first one.
Spider-Man 2?
Sorry, original Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
No extra captions.
Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire.
Tobey
Yeah.
Maguire Spider-Man.
Yeah. Technically, there's only one Spider-Man 2 that's Tobey Maguire, because we get into the Far From Home series, and it's
Well,
not
the-
numbered.
Or the Adventures of
The
Spider-Man.
Andrew Garfield one had
Amazing
a sequel,
Spider-Man.
Amazing. that's
which
it.
was directed by Mark Webb, who directed 500 Days of Summer.
Hey,
Yeah.
He did both
what
of
about
the.
that?
The
Amazing
trivia is all
Spider-Man
webbed
movies.
together.
Yep. Oh, I've got trivia.
She's bringing back your way out in left field.
I know.
I
Right.
love it.
We're back. So, Jill, I don't know. Soundtrack stand out? Maybe not, but what did stand out to you in this movie, then?
What stood out in the movie?
Yeah.
The party scene. I really liked the expectation versus reality moment. That was good.
Yeah.
That's my
Very
favorite.
good film
That-
choice.
One of my
Mm.
favorite
All the
parts.
greeting card humor was good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just the witty banter, I think, that Joseph Gordon-Levitt brings, either with his two friends or like the little sister Rachel, Chloe Grace Moretz.
Chloe Grace is great in this movie. This is,
She's got 2.5 scenes tops, but
Yeah.
like she's really good.
There's like 3 or 4
Yeah,
times
it's
she shows
really-
up.
one in the beginning, 2 soccer games worth, and
Yeah.
probably another one
Yeah.
in there. But her just getting him vodka is really funny right off the bat.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, wait, shouldn't you be home? It's after 10. And she's just like, don't worry about it. Like, she was just really well written as like one of these side characters that really just hits the mark on it, because it just feels like, I love the idea that you've got this sister who's like maybe like 12 or 13, and she's just notably wiser than her like
Yeah.
mid-20s assumed, like mid to late 20s brother. And she's just like, no man, this is how it's done. And it's just, I don't know, that humor just hit me spot on with it. I was like, this is funny. This was one of those concepts that sounds good on paper and then was executed well.
I think it's just like that character's meant to be kind of the grounded outside perspective to somebody who has wound themselves up
Right.
into just like a no longer being grounded in reality at all.
Mhm, right.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Like just the real character of like, look, just don't be a pussy. Like,
Yeah.
Like they even said it, but I don't know. I'm kind of glad that we only got a little bite-sized amount of her,
Mhm.
just because.
Any more would've been distracting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
this
should
movie
not have
was-
been overdone.
Right.
It was fine as it was.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. The bells and whistles in this movie, man, just the right amount across the board with it. Even the the side character friends don't overstay their welcome at all. Like I think the one guy who He's the Snosberry guy from Super Troopers.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. Knew right away that guy.
The guy who's singing karaoke.
Yeah, he's the drunk karaoke friend.
They're not letting you back in there, man.
Yeah, he serves just enough of a role to just like do his job and then get out and kind of ground him later. The one scene he does have at the end after, what's Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character name in this?
Tom.
Tom. I guess that's like Sam. Tom. Yeah, Tom. After he does the whole like, no, we're contributing to this problem by like making these bullshit cards and walks out. The clap.
Yeah.
Into
forgot he
not.
did that.
Yeah. I'm like,
how could you in that moment have thought that would?
you know what? But there have been listen. When I think here's what this movie really like why it like hits me on a very like fun level is because nostalgically I watched this movie whenever like when it first came out in like 09, so it's like 19 or 20. Whenever a lot of this is like perspectives, and we really got to actually start talking about like how each character kind of lands with us currently, because that's going to be probably the big crutch of the conversation. But watched this movie at 19 and 20, and then I remember thinking like, oh god, that's been me in a class at least once. Yeah. There's been a time where I've definitely inappropriately clapped and been like, oh, that's not the vibe. Fuck. You know? So there's just little things that I definitely vibe and connect with on that one. And then the roommate friend just having that moment where he's like comes in talking way too much and he's just like, shit, dude, she's still here. What are you doing?
Stalking.
Yeah.
I mean, start.
But I feel like we're dancing around the actual like plot itself. Well, not so with the plot. It's just them kind of dating and then not dating. But I think one of the biggest topics of discussion with this movie anymore is, I mean, it kind of starts off as like, who's the asshole in this story?
Mm-hmm.
It kind of ends on who's the asshole in this movie, too.
They're both definitely assholes.
Don't spoil the right answer, Jill. So, once upon a time. All right, so right away, so who first watched this one again? Was it?
I'd never seen it.
You've never seen it. You've never seen it.
I've seen it.
You've seen
I've seen it
right?
too many times.
I know. I was gonna say. I know you haven't
Yeah.
seen it too many times. So, starting up with you two, did you have a distinct impression that like one person was more an asshole in this movie on the cuff, or
Tom was more an asshole,
okay?
but you also see his perspective more, so you get to see him more as an asshole.
Sure. I mean, so it's favored towards him, admittedly. But Nathan, did you feel right off the cuff?
Yeah. I mean, he's really the only asshole. She didn't want it to be serious.
But like, it was clear he did, and she should see that, and they should probably talk about
Then
it.
she
Or
should've
end
just
it.
left.
Or she should
Yeah.
end it. Either way is the correct way, but what she did is just ignore it, which is not great. Like, is he more at fault? Yes. Are they both a little at fault at least?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is the one thing about this movie. I think Price has said it about Marriage Story, where like
Mhm.
one watch you'll be on this side, the other watch you'll be on
the
this
other
side, whatever.
Yeah.
Every single time, by the end of this movie, I am so far and against her. I think that she is just absolutely the worst human on earth.
Oh my god.
Now, here's the
I
thing.
felt Nathan's soul leave
Yes.
his body when you
Yeah.
said that.
Yes.
I love
Where-
it.
So that.
Because-
No,
Okay.
he's right. Let
Get
him
me
cook.
there.
Yeah, let him cook.
Yeah.
So she does foreshadow a lot. Look, I'm not looking for anything serious. I don't know how many times she said that. It was at least 3 or 4.
Yeah.
But what gets me is every single time on that bench scene, which happens to be probably my favorite scene in the whole movie at the very end.
The very, very end one?
The very
Oh, yeah,
end,
that one. Yeah, the very
where
last bench.
she's just like, you know, Tom, like one day I just went to the coffee shop and there was a guy there that was, I don't even know what she said he was saying,
Yeah.
but like he asked me to go out with him one time. Like, what if I had been
Why
somewhere
does
else?
that make her more of an asshole?
Hold on.
Because he's like, so you just like went and married him. She was like, yeah, well, what if I wasn't there that she completely like dodges the question. And I think that like her mindset of being this free, independent woman of like, I don't want to have labels, I don't want to do this, has always just baffled me because of that final scene and your expectation versus reality where like, oh, yes, absolutely I'll marry you. Like, that goes against everything that she's ever
Except
been.
she gets that mic drop moment of like, yeah, I felt with him what I never
What I
felt
never
with
felt
you.
with you.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
I was
that's
right
what
about
I-
you, you weren't right about me, which I
Like,
do
that's
think
just
is
all
one of the
proving
hardest
that, like,
lines.
what Tom thought the whole time was at least partially true.
Yeah.
She just never had the eureka moment.
Right.
Granted, she was also an asshole during
I was
the
gonna
course of
say,
the movie.
I do appreciate that a lot, and I could see that it's just all the time she was painted in this light of like, I will never settle down, like that's just not me, like it's just not happening. And maybe it is, maybe it's just
Maybe
because
that
it was
just his perspective.
maybe it
on
was.
Yeah.
Because even in the bar right before karaoke, she was sitting there, his friend was asking her like, how come, is she a lesbian, you know, like what,
Mm-hmm.
but she flat out just has so many times said that she's just not looking for that.
Mm-hmm.
She will never be that. And then all of a sudden, she's got a ring on it. And it's just
People
like...
can change, Mason.
Yeah, but this is less
No,
than
they
500 days. This is
Yeah.
like
To be
400
fair-
It's about
some
6
odd
months.
days.
I was about to say-
between the time that they broke up and
Were
she
people
married
doing
him.
the math on
She
those
does get
days?
married
Because it's
very
like...
quickly.
Yeah.
Not just married, yeah.
Yeah.
She married at the end of
Very,
6
very
months,
quickly.
which
True.
means she was...
I mean,
Yeah.
that seems to make sense for that character too.
It does.
So-
It
Yeah.
100% is a girl that
Which-
would do that.
The reason why I do enjoy this movie in that way is because, like, I know in 501 Days of Summer,
Mm-hmm.
they're toast. That relationship is not lasting.
Right. Oh,
Why,
you're convinced...
why are you so hot against her?
This
like, I
girl.
don't understand.
No.
So
This
how
is
you
first
feel
watch.
about
This is
Miles
first watch
Teller,
feelings. Yeah, no,
Yes.
I know how you feel about
This
Zoe
is
after
how I
this.
am with like Zoe Deschanel and like New Royce. I'm just like, she played such a good character in this, and such like a I just cannot stand that
She's a charming villain.
she is.
Yeah.
Like a snake.
Yeah. So I want to riff off of Mason really quick because I'm going to meet you halfway on this one. So as an adult now, so let me start by saying when I first watched this movie at 19, Summer's the fucking villain. You're like, Tom's in the right, Summer's a fucking monster. Tom may be a little fucked here and
Yeah,
there,
but
but like,
Tom's got a bad.
yeah, you're like,
but like
you're
you
like,
know.
if you're reasonable at 19, you're like, Tom kind of sucks a little bit, but Tom's also my spirit animal in this story. He's me.
I've
and
been
I-
Tom too many times.
And I just got out of this relationship, and she's the fucking devil, though. But you know, like that's how that movie hits you at 19 on the first time. If you're me and probably Mason, and then you start to watch it a little bit more. You come back to it later, and you're like, Tom sucks a little bit more than I remember. And you're like, oh shit. I hope that doesn't mean I suck. Then no, that's just Tom. You know? And then you're like, I mean, Summer does say straight up she's not looking for anything serious. She puts her expectations in the front, and he does kind of just keep throwing himself into her as like, you know, into this thing.
He tries to force ultimatums on her.
He does.
Which
They
is
Yeah.
just
not
have
cool.
sit down an adult conversation
And this is
about
the
how they both feel.
and this is the Tom sucks more, right?
To be
Like
honest,
this
they
is,
do that in the car.
They
and
do
She
do
does
that.
wave him off.
And to be fair, she does, and this is where Summer starts to where the Summer boys, the Summer suck boys,
Summer side of the couch.
are valid from the beginning, but then get more valid a little bit more early on. Consistently, we can, the same things that we'd cite as her strengths, right? The things where she's being transparent. She says up front, these are expectations. Everything afterwards, that's kind of like you can make an argument to say everything at that point is on Tom for maintaining a relationship that's not a relationship. But consistently, when he tries to have those moments of maturity and say, hey, let's talk about this. We've been doing this for like 6 months, 9 months, 15 years, however long it is in the movie. I don't know, a certain amount of days. You know, when he tries to have these responsible, mature moments, she waves it off. She doesn't engage in it. She says, you know, it doesn't say anything. Sometimes just skirts the topic, goes into something else, or says, why are we having this topic? Why are we trying to make it this? Really, those are the moments of Tom being able to like truly like defend and say, hey, we've been doing this long enough. I think I want to put a label on it. Can we make it real or can we not? And I think that's where the conversation, if we were, you know, not in a movie, would reasonably just go. And then if it was yes or no, that would probably be the end of it there. But from Summer's selfishness in this one, she is enjoying the flaky thing at it.
She
and
also is dancing with him at a wedding,
Which
as
is
her
so inappropriate.
Former coworker.
that one's gross.
It's like this movie
Because
is
she
so
wanted
wonderful at like painting certain pictures, and I think that's what we can really take away because
yes.
like
yes.
that does fit her criteria of like
Well,
because
so
I wanted to.
That fits a character who's like, no, I still want to be friends. Like,
And she
you know,
does
you
push
can't
that
do
narrative.
that.
big time.
Exactly.
That's not a good idea.
I
Yeah.
think
'Cause
some
that's how you are unknowingly hurting somebody.
exactly.
Although, like, you're only lying to yourself. You know you are.
Yeah.
You know what you're doing.
I think, and here's the thing that like I'm not gonna give the pass to Summer on, which I'm being hard on Summer. We'll be hard on Tom here in a minute.
Sure.
Don't worry. But I think with Summer especially, it's just like that's my biggest issue is that you know for a fact that she knows what like
She knows what she's doing.
he's all the way in, and
Yeah.
she's just letting it happen because it's convenient for her. It's the selfishness
Well,
of Summer's thing.
He's
with
the
that.
boy of the time, right?
Right,
Like,
he is, right.
Which is fine. People live like that day or week to week, month to month.
I think to a certain point that's okay, but when we get older, you're wasting your partner's time at that point. And I think that's like a hard line for me where she's just looking at it and she's okay, she's not intentionally hurting him, but she's unintentionally okay with it, him hurting her, like himself on her and letting him use her as a metric to do it because she's enjoying her time. Until a point, right? And then I guess they watch, I think it's The Graduate or something, right? That's
Mhm.
and then The Graduate just sets her off on a spiral of being like, you know what, I'm not happy.
suffering.
Right.
So much suffering.
I know.
That scene.
And then they have pancakes, and those fucking pancakes look terrible. But anyways, yeah, so Summer's selfishness and general flakiness, I mean, this is this is the definitive template of a manic pixie dream girl. Like, this is probably where that, like, whole idea started to really come from in a lot of ways.
Well,
Garden State plays that, too.
It also is one of the few movies that does a good job of showing, like, you probably don't actually want to be with
You don't want to really
someone
marry
like
her.
that. Like,
Yeah.
that's not a
Yeah.
relationship.
No.
Yeah, and it might be fantastic in the moment, but
Yeah.
Right.
the longevity is not there.
But, you know, that's also, like, maybe specific to Tom. Because
Mhm.
I would say, you know, guy she marries probably is more on the same wavelength as her. Like, that's probably why she
Super
marries him,
unserious,
right?
super yeah.
Well, you know, like the type that would be willing to just start shouting penis in
Yeah.
the
Oh, I
park.
hated that scene so much.
Comfortably, yes.
I like that scene. I think it's a of a time charm, but like it's a
Yeah,
It
charm.
was a thing they did in middle school that I hated then.
Yeah.
seeing adults
You know what's
in a
weird?
park
They do
with
that
children.
in 2 different movies. Take Me Home Tonight with
Yeah.
Topher Grace,
Mhm.
or Topher Grace.
Topher Grace, yeah.
They do the exact
There's a
same
lot of
thing.
words
Like, it's
you coulda
supposed to be a
used.
scene that like
Yeah.
makes the audience like these characters. I
Yeah.
just hated them more.
Yeah.
Okay,
She
so
was already on the edge, and then she just jumped over.
I'll wrap my thought really quickly on not just Summer, but like them as a whole. Despite being generally like people that we shouldn't be cheering for, this movie still does a great job of making us feel like we're connected to them and still
Well,
cheer for them.
they're the only things in the movie.
I mean, they
unless
are.
you're pulling for Paul and his girlfriend that he's known for
Since
like, high
97
school.
or
Yeah,
something like
whatever
that.
it is.
Which he never gives the impression of ever feeling like he's in a
He's-
relationship, but that's
yeah.
neither here nor there.
Well, he's just in like a relationship where it's just like, well, they got married, so that's just.
So that's
But he
Yeah.
lives
Dumb
with
thing.
Tom though, and we never see her. So does he even live with her?
I don't
He's
think
Also,
he's
it's
the
Tom's
roommate.
point of view, and Tom clearly doesn't care about any kind of traditional relationship.
Right.
Good
So
point.
he just like disregards it entirely.
Tom sucks.
He's all about like super romance.
Yeah.
That's like a little.
It's all about
adult.
honeymoon phase romance,
Yeah.
right? And that's why the movie's so painted that way. But I think this movie does a really good job still of making, although like Summer in like review of her actions, Tom as well, are pretty like, you fucking guys. It's so like there's a genuine enoughness about it that doesn't make me feel like that this is too movie or that this like these are believable characters,
Yeah,
very
I
believable
very
like,
much believe these two exist.
relationship.
Like, I
And
feel like I've met them.
Yeah, which is weird because Summer seems like such an unrealistic character if you just like
No.
look at the.
No.
But
they right off the cuff
but,
they
like,
paint her as unrealistic.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But
Yeah.
like really, she is.
We all know a couple Summers, right? We know one Summer may have even gotten married. I'm just gonna throw it out
Well,
there, assuming that's probably right for some watcher.
I think that's,
But-
that's like one of the best things that it did early on was like, look, Tom is infatuated with this girl who is overly average in every single way,
Mm-hmm.
but
Damn,
she
Zoe
said
Chanel
one
Glass.
thing in the elevator that just absolutely, like, he just cannot
Head over
forget
heels.
about it, right?
Yeah.
And you're, I don't
Well,
know.
that really does point to something where it's just like just finding any of that, like that one connection. If you're like the hopeless romantic type, you're
Yes.
just like,
Yes.
Could it be coincidence?
This is the foundation upon which all things can be built.
Uh-huh.
We both like this band.
We
Yeah.
both like this one band that she happened to hear over my headphones.
To be fair, that's such an early 20s relationship
It
thing
is,
too.
yeah.
I mean, even
Yeah.
teen relationships, the girl, like, I've always said the bar before was like, I don't even have to think the girl's cute. The girl thinks I'm cute, good enough, would have dated, you know, like high school, you know, and then it'll eventually create that I should probably find they're attractive, you know, and then the bar was like, oh, they like anything that I like, right? Done, doesn't matter.
Yep.
And then it's
You're
just
already 1 foot in.
married. Yeah,
it's
exactly.
exactly like Rachel says in one of the beginning scenes. She's like, just because some girl likes the same bizarro crap you like doesn't mean
Yeah.
you're soulmates.
Right.
It's like that's the thesis of the whole movie.
It really is. I think the movie's really smart about how much it puts it up front, like what it is, and I appreciated that on rewatches, like
Yeah.
where it was just like it's telling you the
Mhm.
entire time with it. But the characters are both lovable and despisable. Jill, they
What?
just despisable, or are they at all
I hate,
lovable?
I hate him so much.
You d-
Do you hate both of them?
I
hate both of
actively
them?
hate Tom.
all right.
Okay.
Whoa, 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 whoa,
I
whoa,
can't
what about-
identify with him in certain moments. Like,
Sure.
oh yeah, I get what it is to pine after someone who doesn't want you.
Yeah.
I get like the whole thing. He's a dick. I hate
Yeah.
him.
I mean, he's not.
Yeah.
I think he's
I don't
like
really
halfway
like him.
suicidal.
I feel like he's also like the person trying to like put a bird in a cage
Mhm.
through the whole movie.
100%.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That is true.
He's
'cause
just
you
like,
said
oh, I really
that.
like this bird, but I don't want it to go anywhere. I need to
harness
cage
it,
it up.
and I need
It's
to
like-
make sure
and
it knows
thus
who I am.
make
Right.
you know the thing that in theory the thing that you like then becomes something that you don't like because you are trying to control it so much.
Right.
Like it's ridiculous.
You're taking something beautiful and ruining why it's beautiful, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if I just picked up like the white squirrel that like roams outside, and then put it into a cage, probably think
It
it's less
loses
cute.
its its
If
shine.
it starts shitting everywhere and dying, it's probably less cute than when it's just roaming around in my yard. You know what I mean? Yeah. Is that my metaphor for marriage on today's episode of Are We Digging Too Deep? But anyways, so just shitting everywhere and dying. Anyways.
Okay, so you both really hate Tom.
Yeah.
I dislike Tom, and I also dislike
There's
Summer.
things
Okay.
that are good about Tom,
Mhm.
like him actually. The moment where the breakup finally breaks him and he develops as a person,
Mhm.
that's good.
Yeah.
That's good that he does that.
But
That's
post
what you should do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Post
Yes,
Twinkies and
post-Twinkies.
post like
get a
Wolf
room.
Mother.
Right.
scene.
Well, yeah, you gotta spiral into a hole.
Right.
Like that's the beauty of a breakup is you have the downward spiral
Yeah.
into a
Oh,
hole
but did he
where
actually
you
grow
come
that?
back
'Cause
out.
I feel like at the end of the movie, he's just starting over from the
No.
beginning.
No,
No,
yes
no,
and
no,
no,
no.
because
That's what I got.
no, but here's what
But
happens.
he's
though.
goes
doing
back to
he's
day
doing what he
one.
went to college
There you
for.
go. Right.
Yes.
He spent
Like,
enough
he's
time to
doing
put
what
himself on the
is
next
his-
level.
Passion instead of
Yeah.
working.
But has he learned anything about?
That's a good question because
I mean,
this
do you
movie
need to
does
learn things
paint.
about relationships.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but this movie also paints him in a way where he's just repeating the cycle, right?
Right.
Yeah, because
So
it flips back
Autumn
to one.
Meets her and she literally says like one thing about architecture, and boy howdy is he just.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
they're
right.
interviewing, right?
One thing, it's not the Smiths. She probably hates the
She
Smiths.
doesn't have to like me, or
And
she
the movie
doesn't be
doesn't
cute.
continue for you to know if he's learned
Yeah.
anything or not.
No.
Which is kind of nice. You don't find out. You just have that nice open
Yeah.
ending, like, oh,
But
here
the
he
problem
goes.
is he's
Also,
fresh
do
off
you
a breakup.
care?
Right.
So is that
Yeah.
a rebound,
If
and
it
is
gets
it gonna
any
just cripple him even
Yeah,
more?
and generally in movies, if there's a progression of character, I like to know that they've progressed.
Nah, this
I like
one-
the coin spinning at the end of
Yeah,
this.
exactly.
You know?
This is the top. at
This
the
is
end.
the yeah. Right.
Or you could see it as, Autumn is considered like a more matured season, and so maybe he is, but no, really, it's just the spinning top, and I
Yeah,
like
he's
that.
just like Minka Kelly looks like a
Man, I want to
baddie.
see him meet Winter.
Yeah.
You're waiting
Winter
for that.
seems my
that
kinda
sequel.
Winter's gonna be more of a goth girl, and you're finally a movie.
Like,
He's gonna meet her at a funeral.
the third arc.
Right.
Third arc.
He's gonna be like in his 40s.
He's
Yeah.
twice broken.
Right.
Just
One kid, but you know what? Like goth Winter over here.
the winter.
Who would play Aubrey Plaza? That's who.
Oh,
plays-
yeah.
That's an
She's
easy
a
layup.
Winter.
Just
Yeah.
writes itself at that point.
Mhm.
Anyways, so we love our characters. We hate our characters. Who can I ask really quickly? I'm gonna take a question from you on this one.
From me.
Yeah, from
Okay.
you on this one. Who's the standout side character in this one besides Tom and Summer? Who's the world winner here?
Is it my question to answer, or is that open to anyone?
Open to the
'Cause
board,
everyone got really
but
But
quiet.
you look really heavy in the thinking.
I
so
thought you were just asking her.
Oh.
yeah.
Well, I was gonna say Rachel, because I
Mhm.
think, she kind of is, but I also really enjoyed Clark Gregg's role as the boss.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because he's just a funny guy, and I love seeing
Well,
him in
he's
anything.
also sincere and kind in a way that they didn't have to portray a boss being.
Right.
Yeah.
Like he was, he's very good.
Yeah.
Like very
You're one of the good
surprisingly
ones.
good.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
his employee is being pretty awful.
Terrible.
And
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
like, well, something's clearly happened here. I need to help this person because I care about my employees.
Yeah.
Like that was nice to see.
Genuinely invested in his employees' well-being, and I think that the card that Tom wrote, which in case we forgot, roses are red, violets are blue, fuck you whore. Which excellently delivered.
I feel
I
Yeah.
like that card would sell pretty well.
think
It
it would.
would.
I think it
Yeah.
would like hotcakes.
Honestly, they
Yeah.
really missed the opportunity to do like marketing
crossover.
with like a line of 500 Days of Summer greeting cards.
Yeah.
Good
Like
point.
if this movie came out today, there
It's
would
too
be
indie.
greeting cards.
Nah, it's too indie.
Yeah.
Yeah. People don't know what this one is.
Right.
They would pick up that card and want to sue.
Mhm. They'd be like, "This isn't cute. What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody's
It's
grandma
twisted.
has a stroke at the.
You can
at
find
the
that card
Target.
at Spencer's.
Probably
that,
can.
that line you could
Yeah.
sell it to
Yeah.
that line.
I like if this is the kind of thing if I watched this in my 20s with like a girlfriend, then like that would be our Valentine's cards to each other, you know, like just because we're sick
Because
puppies
you
like
gotta
that.
be quirky. Like
Yeah.
that character.
You're right, because
Yeah,
that's what
you
happens
gotta
in
be
your 20s.
quirky.
You want you realize how problematic these people probably actually don't realize how problematic they are. You kind of see a little bit how problematic they are, but you ignore all of it because in your 20s that's exactly how you date.
Yeah, 100%. I watched this movie for the first time in theaters when I was like, what was I in 2009? Like 17?
Yeah.
Oof,
17.
that's a
And
rough year.
I was like, oh, Summer's terrible. And Tom's the real, like...
Tom's charming and loving because he's Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
He's the guy.
Missed,
and then
right?
I watched it later on. And of course, I think everyone's perception at first, I think, like, the way it was generally received as a movie was that, like, Summer's terrible and Tom is the guy you should be rooting for. And then everybody
Except for
changed
Nathan.
their mind.
Except for Nathan,
Yeah.
yeah.
Which I agree, and like later on when I watched it, I was like, oh, Summer did nothing wrong. And this time I watched it, I'm like, they're both kind of psycho.
Yeah. You're like, they're both toxic. I won't.
Yeah, like they're both in the wrong. Because, I mean, they just, well, we've already gone into that whole thing, so
Right.
I won't rehash it. But yeah, it's really interesting though, just when you watch it at different ages and just upon rewatch,
Totally different
you're just
movie.
like, oh,
Yeah.
no, they're both crazy. Or, you just evolve your opinion of the characters.
No, mine and Mason's has been consistent. Summer's a trash human being. But also we do love Summer when
And
we watch the
every
movie.
time I watch it, I'm looking. I'm like, well, and just kind of like sitting here, it's like I can see where, she's got a couple more dogs in her corner with that, but I'm still, it's just like, you can't just literally get engaged and get married within like 2 months of breaking up and then just be like, look, Tom, like he was literally the one for me. I don't know what the big deal is.
Because it almost seems really out
It's
of character for her, but I
stupid.
like that about
Yeah.
it because you're
It's
really
so
only
dumb.
seeing it through Tom's eyes, and that's what it is with the whole like criticism of this movie and a couple of other movies that came out around the same time about the manic pixie dream girl.
Yeah.
But it's dissecting its own trope and being like, no, you're only seeing it from this person's perspective. You're only seeing their idea of this person. You wouldn't know if this was a fully formed person,
Sure.
And so that's why I like that it seems so out of character
Yeah.
for Summer at the end. And even what she's wearing seems a little bit different than what she's been wearing.
Right.
And
She's wearing a winter type clothes.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's wearing that
That
darker
just
color
seems
palette.
like
I mean, she's still
They
wearing
both
blue.
clearly have grown up and changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's only been like 2 months
Yeah.
or so from like this. I think I remember counting. It was only like 2 or 3 months tops by the time they're having that bench scene, and by then she's already getting married. So like the
Right.
flip from dating this guy, from like breakup is maybe 3 or 4 months, right? Like give or take on that one, and to like being married. And
Yeah,
it's just
I think
like,
it's
wow.
closer to 6 months. I was looking at
I was
the.
gonna say, I don't think it's
What was it?
2 months.
370 to it was like
It was-
376 to 500. So
They broke
yeah,
up
probably is
like
closer.
around 250 or 300.
It was like 300 ish.
bad.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I guess
Yeah.
it is closer to 6, but still, it's a very quick flip. either
Yeah,
way.
oh yeah, super quick. But then, I mean, that kind of
But I
fits
also-
for
but-
her, too, because, like, she just does what she wants.
Right.
So if she
So she's
suddenly
like, sure.
wants to marry this guy,
I love
she's
you. Let's
just
get
gonna
married.
do
You
that.
know what? You can
Yeah.
even imagine that she's the one who pitches it too. That she's
Oh,
the one.
yeah.
She's like, oh, she's
I
the
could
one.
see her
I
being
would-
the one
I
that
would
proposed.
fucking be
Right.
So
Yeah.
mad.
Yeah.
That is the
If they show that scene,
stupidest-
you're just like,
No.
you bitch.
Oh god.
Whatever hate was there just gets
Just-
coal into the fire for Mason on the
Yeah.
idea. Can we think of any other ways that Summer is organically doing
Just
things to make
a
Mason angry?
miserable human being.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know what? Their kid's gonna be named Tom.
Tom.
Yeah. Her kid's not gonna be named Tom. She gets that tattoo that he writes on her, and she
Yeah.
just
Oh,
says,
yeah.
"Oh, that's just like my one friend who did this tattoo this
Yeah.
one time."
Yeah.
And she never tells her
No.
husband at all that they
No.
dated.
No, she's
And
like,
then-
he was just such a good friend.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she didn't want to talk about any of her past partners.
I
Which
know.
again was such a smart thing. That's such
Right.
a normal
I
thing.
think
She
that's
talked
very
about them.
normal to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Is to not bring up that sort of stuff.
No, you don't.
But
You
he
don't
was
keep
But
crying.
dying.
him
Right.
trying to dig in,
Yeah.
like don't
I
do that.
also cinematography or what they show on the screen is great with that because it is like so on board. Where she'll talk about a person and not say anything about their penis size, but immediately it's just like huge dick.
Well,
you know,
so
like
again, I think that's meant to be from Tom's perspective.
I know.
So that's how
Yeah,
he
the whole
envisions.
movie
that's what I
it.
mean though. But that's a really
Yeah.
that's such a dude thing to do when you're hearing about a partner. It's like how am I inferior to them? You know, like and
What was
it's-
his name? Panther or something?
Panther.
Like
The
that?
Puma.
The Puma.
And
Yeah.
that's why he was just like, oh, he must have a huge dick.
Right. I mean, and again, she alludes nothing to that at all, but for
Yeah.
the brain to go that way as a guy brain, I'm like, no, that's... dude had some handwriting on this on this plot with that one. Anyways, do we got any further thoughts before we go in the shape of the movie?
Let me see if I had
Yeah.
Oh,
notes.
she had
I had
notes.
I had a
notes.
question, but Nathan already answered it. It was gonna be like what is the dude like that she ends up marrying?
Yeah.
Mm.
He had already kind of said it.
It's
He has
Nathan,
to be
actually.
sorta-
He just kind of walks in. He's just like, yeah, man.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. I mean, but she gets a little bit more gothy by then. you know.
Yeah, no, I don't.
She's too whimsical.
I
Too
don't.
whimsy.
I don't really think I go for
Too beta?
for this type.
She's soy boy beta girl. Like,
No, she's like she wants to be too flighty and stuff, and like I don't.
yeah.
You don't like Flighty?
You don't like you're like I like my
I don't-
prisoners
I
to
don't
know
think
they're
I-
in the
I
basement.
don't think I like the idea of relationships.
That's true. Well,
Neither does
That's
she.
a whole other can of
Right.
Neither
So
does
why
she.
does that? You know, why is Flighty bad if you're on? Because you're like I'm allowed to be.
Because
The,
he wants to be the Summer.
he
just
wants to be the
a
manic
Tom.
pixie dream boy,
Yeah.
and he wants a Tom to chase after him.
No wonder you
Yeah.
like her so much.
Aha! Because that's his spirit
That's him.
animal.
Yeah.
We're too, you know, we see Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and we're like, they're pretty much the same
me.
guy as us.
Yeah,
so
that's me right there.
that's
yeah.
fair. That's fair. Dark hair, charming.
Yeah. Couldn't sing at karaoke.
Can't. Whoa, hold on now. No, don't put me in this
I can't
group.
decide which one you're questioning, them or Tom. She's a charming.
Oh.
Which one of
Calling
these
you
traits is
charming.
unrealistic for us, Jill?
um,
Anyways, any notes there, Annabeth?
oh my gosh, the color scheme. She's always wearing blue, and I love it. I don't know
That
why
is
I
true.
love it so
She's
much,
wearing
but
New Girl
I'm
clothes.
such
Yeah,
a
she
sucker for her just being in the same color palette the whole time.
Yep.
I think this is like one of the first movies I saw as a youth that was like a film. You know, I was
You're right.
you know, I was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
This is
Cinema.
writing.
I have thoughts and feelings in a way that I've never thought before.
Right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I love the music scene where he's like dancing
Hall & Oates,
the
yeah.
Hall & Oates
Yeah.
song, and then Harrison Ford winks at him in the reflection of the
Underrated
window.
Han Solo
So good.
cameo one on that one.
Yeah.
That is how you feel as a guy. You're like, fuck yeah.
The little
Yeah,
animated
I kinda
blooper.
forgot
Yeah.
about that, but yeah.
I'm glad that-
Love
whenever
that
it's
scene.
like goes so over the top, it's like yeah, that I like that. I
feel
feel
like
like
that-
that track.
Yeah.
Is that how
This
you-
is
Is that how a guy feels the first time he has sex with a girl that he likes?
Yeah.
It's not just that.
Yeah.
This was like his mountaintop.
Yeah.
Like this was
Yeah.
like
Right.
he has
This-
conquered everything he could have ever imagined. Like,
Right.
That was how it was perceived.
I mean, and not even
so a silly like dance number that like gets the entire community involved. Like,
right.
It's
right.
And
fun.
they're all wearing blue.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's wow, you really paid attention on the set on the costume and set
I've
design
watched
here.
this a lot, and I definitely wrote a whole essay about the blue color scheme when I was
I
in
believe
college.
for you.
so-
You know what? Good for
Good
you.
for you.
No, I think
Thank
it's
you.
it's not
Hi.
even just like first time you have sex after with somebody that you're like super into.
Mhm.
I think it's also like even the part that I think is like maybe downplayed even just subtly enough, but it's the moment where he walks into the bathroom and he comes back and she's already like naked waiting in bed and it's just
Yeah.
like the eager enthusiasm about that.
Yeah.
That's just like that's the stuff where it's like the sex was gonna be great anyways, but the mental like stimulation of being like she wants me
Yeah.
and it's like she already did like
Yeah.
the
she's-
forward comingness
yeah.
on that one. I think that's like all of it is that like chef's kiss like first time electric moment, right?
Yeah.
And again, what a great opportunity to like just have a fun, upbeat moment in a movie.
Right.
You know, place that in there. It was after IKEA. You know, it was after
Yeah.
this whole thing.
I
Yeah.
love the IKEA scenes too.
Yeah, that's good.
That being said, she didn't show her full frontal nudity in this one, or back nudity, and that will reflect on my score. But before that, let's get into the shape of the movie. Fat, thin, perfectly fit. Mason, we'll start with you.
Oh goodness. I think that this movie is pretty fit. I don't like as many of his like depressed parts, just because I do think that he's a little over the top on those. But if it's gonna affect you that much, I guess you have to sort of showcase that. I'd say it's fit. I think it's a good run. I couldn't tell you what the runtime is. No idea.
It's an hour and a half.
Doesn't really feel
Yeah.
like it. I don't think it's with as many transitions and how they hop back and forth. It really does keep things light, in my opinion.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'd say it's fit.
Yeah, I would agree. If you said hour and a half, I would have said hour 40, and I would have been on the sweet spot with hour 45. And I'm like, yeah, but if it goes
I
to
think
2.
it's like an hour 37 to be exact.
Okay, well, good. I do care about exact. How about we get it right next time, Jill? So,
Yeah. Can you please just bring that
Yeah,
information?
can we be fully loaded about the factual runtime? That's all.
We're gonna look like idiots.
Yeah, we're gonna look like stupid. Anyways, no, hour 37. It's like anywhere from like hour 30 to hour 40. I'm like is like perfect on runtime on this movie. I think if it tried to push 2 or tries to go to be a Batman and tries to be a 3, we have the whole winter arc into it.
The winter arc.
Yeah, we had all the get all the DLC.
Nobody asked for arc.
Aubrey Plaza one, Minka Kelly. They just have a kid. And
Yeah.
fuck off. Yeah, they didn't do all that, so the movie's fit. Yeah, Nathan.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's fit. I don't really think you cut out the dark sides either.
You need them.
Yeah, you need
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
Well, and I feel like it's good to show that trade, or at least that's always the way I visualize things like that. It's like you're trading being very happy now for being very sad later, and it's just a balance. It's just a scale, and eventually the scale's gonna balance.
That's true.
Says a lot about your views on relationships.
It does,
Nathan.
doesn't it?
Jill,
It's all gonna work out. in the
don't
end.
unpack that. Just go ahead and go into your fat thing.
I'm gonna call it fat. I have no idea what you would cut. I know the reason I know the runtime is because I looked it up. Like, it's like how
Wow.
fucking long is this movie? It keeps going on.
Of course.
Oh my god, it's
it
only
is.
an hour and a half.
Jill hates love.
You know
So
what?
it feels very long to me.
I think this would be a great time to mention Somebody Great.
Oh, yeah, we have to bring it back.
Jill has also had 2 movies on this podcast, and by golly, did not compare it to this movie at all.
Yeah, I thought that would come up.
Yeah.
I thought
I
it
was
was
waiting.
going
Oh,
to.
let's
I was
bring
waiting.
it
I
back.
actually, when I was looking up the runtime, I was like, I have to see. Like, they were saying somebody.
Someone great.
Yeah,
That one is on. It's
Minute
it's
hour
shorter.
46.
It's also a Netflix
Shorter.
movie, so I would assume
No, it's
short.
longer.
No, it's longer.
It's longer. It's an
Maybe
hour
this
40
one is
something.
132 and that one's 137.
Yeah.
Regardless, that is
Regardless,
apples to apples.
It was
Right,
surprising
yeah.
because I felt the drag in this one. I didn't feel as much the drag in Somebody Great. Personally,
Wow.
you guys feel the opposite.
You know how long that Lizzo segment was? Probably about 5 minutes.
Probably
So,
about
that was
3.5
all worth
minutes.
it.
Yeah.
That was one of the best parts of the movie.
I'll agree. But I do think that this movie is like it does tell a slightly different. So I was wrong.
This movie was 3 minutes longer than
Okay.
Someone
Ah.
Fair enough.
Great. It was an hour 35. Someone Great was an hour 32.
Yeah, that would be like saying like a song was 3 seconds longer. Like you really,
Right.
You can't,
Yeah.
you can't tell.
I'll
But
take the songs in this
But
one over the
regardless, I
Lizzo
looked it
song.
up because I'm like, surely they have to be comparable. And like, dear God, they are the same actual length. Does not feel that way to me.
and I thought that movie, Someone Great, was more based on the relationship side. Whenever we had reviewed it, so that's why I was comparing it to this movie. And then I think Annabeth and I were talking about like maybe the Friends side of things, like
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
in that movie,
Because Someone Great is about the friendship,
It's a little bit
whereas
more about the
500 Days
friendship.
of
Right,
Summer
it's
is
about
about
the
the
relationship.
relationship.
yeah,
Yeah.
which I was wrong on that one, but I do think that when I do compare the
So-
two, this one is far superior. Just
Yeah.
because.
To you.
Yeah.
So you thought that they were similar mostly because of the like jumping back and forth in time
Yes.
and showing like vignettes of the
Very
relationship.
much.
Just the
And the
structure of it is
fact that it
And I
ends
s-
with them not together.
and I
They're
still
both like a
think-
breakup story, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and that one was still very much honed in on the relationship, more so than this one was honed in on the friendship.
Oh yeah.
Like that one has a lot of what's his name, Lakeith.
Lakeith
Lakeith,
Stanfield.
yeah.
Whereas Someone Great is a little bit more about like they both like each other.
Yeah.
Versus there's not as much romanticism of
Yeah.
not as much.
To be fair, if you're looking at the plots of the movies, they're pretty close to the same. I mean, you're just like
think they're
you only
very
see the
similar.
focus being different from when you're watching
Yeah.
the movie, but the plot's still. People are processing a breakup, and we bounce back and forth in and out of the relationship in current day to see how they're doing with it. And the only difference is, there's more friend time here versus less friend time.
And there's also 10 years difference. Like this one was made 2009. You
Mm.
said this
Yeah.
one was probably made
19.
roughly 2020.
2019.
2019.
Yeah.
So,
Take-
anyways, that was my. I did want to circle back on that.
Yeah,
like I said,
yeah, we
so.
agree. Yeah, so someone's great is not as great as this movie.
Yeah.
Annabeth, finish out the Fat Fan Perfectly Fit.
I think it's fit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Joseph Gordon-Levitt fit, or because he's kind of like twinkish in this one.
I love his.
I'm not
like,
hating
his,
it.
His
Yeah.
cardigan, constant.
No, I fuck with
stuff.
his fashion. I won't lie.
Oh, yeah.
That 09 fashion on the
Very
dude.
fashionable, very cute. I mean, you know I was into
Those
this.
headphones
Yeah,
Did
for
you
sure.
just watch
Yeah.
the same movie?
Yeah.
His fashion
He was so ugly.
No, I fuck with it. It's
Nah,
got that,
man.
that New
He
York
does have
carrier
better
bag and everything. I'm
Yeah.
like,
It's
yeah,
like
bro.
he looks like he rolled out of bed still wearing the clothes he goes to work in.
Yeah, I mean,
He never
other,
changed.
other than not taking a shower, which
Like
is
he
what I
looks
have to
better
do
at the
every
end
day.
when he's like wearing an actual suit. And
Yeah.
He feels like an actual adult.
Yeah. He starts to look more and more like his character from Arthur from Inception once he starts going down that route, right? Like, so,
Jim
anyways,
just jumps into that movie next.
all movies.
Yeah.
I mean, probably that's
Same universe.
because architects and everything.
Same.
So,
Yeah.
500 Days of Summer is actually in the Inception
It's a
verse.
crossover.
Fucking did it.
Let's do it.
Let's go, Mason. Hit us with the score.
Okay,
He
so
just wants to come in and incept her.
Yeah.
Yes.
Making him
He
again.
does. That's actually
That's
why he
why he
started
gets
to go into
into it,
architecture
yeah.
and why he
Yeah.
gets mixed up with Cobb. And the
that's
whole
true.
movie.
He was 2 or 3 layers deep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Quick side note before
Yes.
we get into scores, because I found this really interesting. The screenwriters, the two screenwriters, and the director it was like their first movie.
Wow.
Can you believe that this movie was a bunch of people's like feature debut? The director mostly did music videos, which makes sense.
Makes sense.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
you gotta
But,
have some
You
experience.
got your props department.
He's
I
not
was
totally
just-
green, right?
Yeah.
Sucker Punch is the same
So-
way.
yeah.
The director
Sucker
just
Punch
did
is
music
Snyder
videos
years.
beforehand.
That I could see a little bit more than this.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Yeah.
the screenwriters went on to do like The Fault in Our Stars, Paper Towels.
They did all the
Spectacular
knockoffs.
Now.
Yeah,
So
right.
like they clearly
Someone great.
just went straight
So all
into
the books that I
your
read because of the
taste in
movie.
Right.
movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Anyway, that's my side note trivia fun facts.
And then Mark Webb now is doing Spider-Man.
That the Andrew Garfield ones.
Yeah, hey, those ones weren't bad.
I liked them.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I don't mind them. The second one's
we're gonna talk
convoluted,
about
but we're not here
charming.
for there.
mm,
Andrew Garfield?
Yeah,
Oh, charming
also
guy.
charming. More charming.
I
in
think-
fact.
Yeah.
So we've compared this movie like writing wise and like the transition wise to a couple things, but it also kind of reminds me of Me and Earl and the Dying Girl just a little
Mhm.
bit because you have like the little like stop motions, weird transitions, which
Yeah.
that was a long time ago. But I genuinely do like the transitions in this movie. I think it's something so simple is super unique. Where like obviously the day 310 was super dark and gloomy, whereas number 1 was the brightest, sunshiniest day ever.
Mhm.
Anyways, I like those types of things. The soundtrack was stupid good. I actually went and like re-upped on YouTube Music a couple of those things, and because I had forgotten about them. But I think this movie, I've been back and forth on it over the years, but I'm gonna land at 8.5. It is so much fun to watch, but it is not for everyone. I would not actually suggest this movie, which kind of goes against like the scoring
Yeah,
that
I was
have.
going to say, typically around 8.5, that should be pretty...
I am yelling it, you know.
at the top of the mountain,
Yeah.
right?
But
That's the top of the mountain before breaking into, like, general favorite movies,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
But it does resonate quite a bit, and I'm glad that it's painted in ways that you can see both of the characters, and you shouldn't be fighting for sides by the end of it, but you pretty much are for the most part. So, yeah. And I think that the final scene is so necessary. Like, I guess both
Yeah.
of the final scenes is super, super necessary. The park bench
Mm-hmm.
plus the interview whole thing. I think both of
into
them
autumn.
are just the cherries on
And him
top.
spiking the camera.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Very on the nose.
Oh yeah.
It is.
It's only one of those at the camera.
It is.
Practically.
Yeah.
This movie is so charming and fun. I forgot, I knew I liked it, but it was one of the things where I don't know, rewatch it again, where it's just like, no, it does still keep me thinking. Because I remember thinking, I think I watched this movie like 5 or 6 years ago or something. It was like before COVID. And I remember thinking, I was just like, all right, cool. I think like I'm at the point in my life now where I think I've already thought what I've thought about this movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then at this point I'm like, no, I'm still kind of heated. It still
I
manages.
want to talk about it.
It still provokes a discussion because it was something where I was talking with Hannah about it yesterday, and she was like, "Actually, I haven't seen that movie." And I'm like, "Oh!" And immediately I was like, well, "You need to watch it."
Oh,
to see
did she
this.
watch it?
No, I haven't got a chance to sit her down
Oh.
yet because I had to do fucking
If you had
movie
known
podcasts.
that,
right?
yeah, you would have.
If I had known, I would have been like, "Hey, you need to sit down and watch this." But we've been
Yeah.
either here or there, too many places. But all to the point of saying like, this is a movie that right around these score marks where I'm like, immediately I'm like, "Oh, you need to like, no, this is." I'm like, I need you to go back 17 years and watch it then too.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
it's a wine, this movie.
It's yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I don't really have many flaws with this movie. I don't really have much anything. I feel like that all the things that it starts out to do, it does really well. I like the characters while simultaneously loathing their actions, but they still feel genuine and relatable. This feels like, in a lot of ways, it's like, I think some of the epitome of Manic Pixie Dream Girl, but it doesn't push the movie Manic Pixie Dream Girl, right? Like, I would say the curve of it is like, you got somewhere like Natalie Portman in Garden State, and then you get into like, I don't know, we start to get into like Harley Quinn's level of like Manic Pixie, where it is now. She's like the most, movie cinematic one, relevantly speaking. And then it's like somewhere in the middle we have like Summer, but being grounded and realistic still. And I'm like, okay, she is definitely Manic Pixie, but it's not so unbelievable as a person. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And I think that in itself is so good. It's not, the movie's strengths to me are where it restrains itself from going to movie, to cinema, to unrealistic. So for all these reasons, I just enjoyed it. The soundtrack is great. All the side characters all knock it out of the park. Fuck you, whore. It's a great card. 9 out of 10.
Dead.
Yeah.
9 out of 10.
I'm gonna go 9.
Damn,
which is-
okay.
Uncharacteristically high. 8.5 is usually a peak for this one. But you know
Yeah.
what? This might be one of my creeping in favorite movies now.
Good
Nathan,
thing.
bring us down.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah, it's good. It's
Fine,
interesting.
I'll do
It's
it.
like it tells a very, I would say, realistic and grounded story, which is good, but it's not like a thing that's going to be a favorite for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think Eternal Sunshine is one I would compare it to.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring that up
Oh
because
my
I know
gosh.
you really like that movie.
Like,
Yeah.
when I compare it to that, I like the whimsy and like very like science fiction break from reality kind of
Yeah.
stuff that is, whereas this spends its whole time being very real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's why it's not like, something super exceptional.
Yeah.
It's good though. Like,
Mhm.
it's not a bad movie. I'll probably give it like a 7.
Nice. Did you like Clementine or this girl more?
Clementine, Clementine feels like she'd be a druggie.
Yeah,
You know?
she's definitely
Yeah.
getting
Like
high.
that's the thing. Like that, and so yeah. I mean, Summer's probably better than Clementine.
Mhm.
Bastard.
Long-time dating
But yeah,
preferences.
there again with Eternal Sunshine, it's like higher highs, lower lows.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
more, they show more like extreme, weird, like quirky kind of moments and
That is
stuff
true.
in that.
Yeah.
Um,
The
but-
Fantasticals is higher, and it's
Yeah.
yeah.
Tell us in the comments which Manic Pixie Dream Girl you'd date,
Yeah.
Clementine or Summer.
Yeah. Jill, bring us down a little bit lower.
Yeah.
So I think we can only go up from here.
Yeah,
if
we
I'm
can
not
only.
mistaken.
Yeah,
It's weird.
between 7 and 9, those were the only realistic scores for this movie.
Yeah.
Mm.
What are your
I
thoughts?
would hate to bring this
I
down.
mean,
Yeah.
technically, the movie was fairly well done. They had really good ideas. It's very relatable at times. Certain scenes are really good. I just really did not enjoy my time with this movie. I couldn't wait for it to end, and it just felt like it took so long to get there. So I would give it a 6.
A 6?
Ooh,
Okay, that's
okay.
a decent
That's fair.
score.
Like
That's
I
a
said, like
decent-
there were
She
good
was bracing
ideas.
for
I
like
was like,
3.
yeah, I was like,
I
don't you
definitely
dare,
Like
like,
it's not a bad movie, and they like I really liked the expectation for reality. I liked the card humor. There's a lot of things that were good ideas.
Right.
I just didn't like the movie, and I hated Tom a lot.
Is there any articulation of like why you hated the movie or why you did not enjoy your time with the
Found
movie?
it very boring.
Boring.
I was
Okay,
bored
a lot
that's
of the
that's
time.
what I thought you would think.
I implore you to watch this movie in like 5 years.
Yeah.
7 years.
Since this is your first watch,
Yes.
you need to know what it
Because
is.
Shouldn't I like him
For-
more if
no,
it's
no,
the
no,
first
no.
one?
No, this is exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
This is exactly what we were talking about. Like,
Yeah.
like you
I
kind of
let him flow.
despise someone, or maybe both, whatever, but you
Yeah.
appreciate the movie. Come back to it. Watch it
Why
again.
can't I just watch better movies?
Oh, like someone great?
Yeah.
I mean, I
You're
did
right,
give- I
Jill.
did-
Go ahead.
What's better
Yeah,
movies,
yeah,
Jill?
knock it
Did I
out.
not
Go
give it a
ahead.
higher score? I could obviously relate to it a lot more than this one.
No? Okay.
All right. Well, I mean, why don't you just go watch The Rescuers again? All right.
Yeah, go watch
I
We're
love
Back.
Rescuers.
Second one's better. Annabeth.
I swear I don't give all my picks a 10.
Hey!
Just keep going. It
It's like
keeps
it's
going.
like Price is still here with us.
Yeah,
Right?
he never left.
I can almost hear his voice.
Yeah.
But yeah, nah, this is a 10. I think it's always been a 10.
Hell yeah.
You just do an in memoriam of Price after every one.
I
Oh,
know.
please, yes.
Yeah.
Everyone with us in it, just in memoriam at the end.
Yeah.
Just play like the 5 seconds of him in the arms of an angel.
Right.
Yes. Oh my
Sarah
god.
McLachlan song.
Yeah. If you
All right,
play any
Annabeth,
longer, we'll get flagged.
Tell us
so.
why it's a 10.
Yeah.
It's a 10. I don't even. I mean, all the things that we've talked about
Sure.
already. Honestly, if you just showed me the expectation versus reality scene and none of the rest of the movie, I would still be like, yes, I have faith that this whole movie is a 10.
I
But-
can relate to that. If it was just that scene and nothing
No,
else.
that's not the way I
no.
meant it. But
It
the
seems
whole
peak, though.
movie is so good, and I really like that it tells a grounded story in such, like, you know, ways that are creative, and you've got a freaking animated bluebird, but at the same time the emotions are so real, and it's just so good. It's one of those movies that made me want to make movies. I didn't make movies, now I'm on a movie podcast, but if
We're
I
getting
had...
warmer.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
in the right direction.
Yeah.
yeah, it's one of those movies that you're just like, oh my gosh, this is art. So...
If you can't make it, critique it to death. That's-
Exactly.
that's a Hollywood baby.
the
Yeah, it's if
spirit.
you can't do teach.
Yeah.
If you can't teach gym.
Yeah.
Teach PE.
Hi, welcome to our PE podcast. It's just a 10 because it's a 10. That's it.
It's a 10 because it's a 10.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
I think
appreciate
a
that.
Because
big
blue.
strength of it is because blue.
And
That
I couldn't help
color
but to
scheme.
notice that you're also wearing blue
Of
today.
course I'm wearing
Intentional.
blue today. This
Yeah.
like light blue summer coated blue.
I should have had a carrier bag.
I-
I should
I know.
have bought one for this.
I almost had a
Yeah.
little blue
Shirt
bow
tails
in my
untucked.
hair.
Hair really scraggly.
Yeah.
Love
Oh,
it.
yeah.
That's the
Untucked
look.
shirt down to your
All the way down.
thighs.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The Zoomers
Yeah.
get it.
Looking like Hey Arnold.
Yeah. Hey, Arnold's a fucking fashion statement. I
He
won't,
really is.
I won't not
That's
hear
pretty
it.
much what he was. He was just wearing darker tones.
I know.
I thought Hey Arnold was wearing a kilt for years because
No.
of the plaid bottom of his
Yeah.
shirt that
Yeah.
sticks out. I was
Yeah.
like,
I didn't
why
think
is he
was
wearing a pants
a kilt,
and
but I
kilt?
thought he had his shirt tied around his waist as opposed to literally
Oh.
on
But
his
then there are
true.
some really hot summer episodes where he does actually have a shirt around his waist, and you see that it's not a kilt or that.
Like
Yeah.
it's clearly not that, but that's
Right.
what I thought.
Anyways, so without further ado, we've got 7 phones on the fucking table, and we need to spin a
Oh,
wheel.
right. Okay, I get to spin it, right?
Yeah.
You.
You
Okay.
can do whatever you want. You just gave the movie a 10.
Yeah, I gave it a
We're
10
getting
because
crazy
it is
now.
10.
We're throwing
I didn't think that was
It
possible
matures
anymore.
like a fine wine.
I know. I thought we had burned all of our 10s, but
Okay.
here we are.
Finally.
Hey, is
What?
it the natural way?
Oh,
No,
so-
it's just the arrow pointing
The
to
arrow.
That was very close.
Okay, so what is finally?
Woo boy! Just in time for spooky season. So, you guys may have remembered Once Upon a Time. There's a
The show Once Upon a Time.
Oh yeah, great show.
Yeah.
the first season wasn't bad.
I know.
The first season was not bad.
Hey, I
Yeah.
stuck with that whole. Okay, no, I
Don't watch
didn't.
the Alice in Wonderland side project.
No,
they
it's
did.
not
That
good.
was
Did you watch
Which
the
is so
Peter
fucked
Pan
up. That's the
story?
most interesting idea. And
No,
It is.
Yeah, and they
I don't
ruined.
do any
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah.
Oh man, did they phone it in?
Yeah, I'm glad I got you guys all excited now because only one of us is going to be excited by the end of this, and this is
I bet it's
Mason.
not me. Shut up.
It's-
Don't you?
It's
I'm
the
not doing it.
boomerang! It's Raw, baby!
No!
We're back!
No.
They're on the podcast. They can't run away. And I said I was
You
gonna
can.
do
Oh,
it.
I can.
A whole movie slice is committed to the bit. But we're gonna have to plan some sort of watch one. Normally I try to grab Hannah. I don't know. Hannah may not
Maybe
do
you
it. Her
just
dad
killed the
died a
podcast.
year
Maybe
ago.
you just
So.
can't schedule a podcast.
Oh yeah, I have a
No.
scheduling
Yeah.
Did you
conflict
break
for
the whole site?
forever.
How did you do this?
Well, so here's what I knew.
Uh-huh.
If I put a movie on the wheel,
Did we have to
then
watch
we
it?
have to watch it.
I was kind of afraid it was Raw, but I was
Son
like,
of a
no, it's something they haven't done clearly because
Aren't
it
you,
says
like-
finally.
And
Are you,
we-
like, busy every day of the week
Yep.
forever now.
Forever.
Yeah.
Forever.
My phone, my blank screen here says busy
Yeah.
forever.
We'll make the time. No worries. So
My
make sure to
daughters
tune
still
in.
watch that.
Tune in next time for, and you know what? I only have so much October left, so it would make the
That's
most
true.
sense that we have to watch it within October. So the spooky energies
So
have
let's wait till
spoken.
next October then.
Yeah, sounds good.
No,
okay,
we've
yeah.
waited enough
Moving on.
years.
We waited enough
on putting
Octobers.
on. We've waited enough Octobers. It is time for Raw to return on our Boomerang episode of the F Movie Podcast.
No.
If you're as excited as I am about it, let us know in the comments below. Which Mandy Pixie Girl was your favorite? Which general movie was better on this one? Did you think that Lizzo was a bad choice? I did too. Anyway. See, you can, instead of just writing a song about trashing men, you can just show a man being trashed. And,
Being
that,
bad.
and that's way more hitting
Way
than,
funner.
than, I don't know, throwing a whole gender under for, many of the men's mistakes, but, not all.
And
Anyway.
wasting Netflix dollars.
Yeah, thanks Netflix. So anyways, let us know what you think in the comments below and all that stuff. As always, make sure to like the video, and we're doing so much hard work, guys, especially this next video. We're working really hard again for that one. I don't even really...
Y'all might be.
That, I was gonna
Yeah.
say, I feel like that's gonna be our hardest working video yet.
No,
I think Price might need to come back.
He'll want to.
Press is back, baby.
He'll want to.
Yeah.
Aren't Kelly and
Yeah.
Harry both supposed to be in it though?
Yeah, well, they're supposed
Maybe.
to, but sometimes
make
you only
Levi
just get
watch
the
it, too.
pocket. We'll make Levi do it.
Yeah.
That'll be the movie Levi watches for every 7 years to see how he feels about it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's been long enough. I think we're overdue for a rewatch of this movie. I'm not going to enjoy it either, but I just wanted to make sure it happened, and I need to be one of my slices. So, the scariest thing I could provide was a raw rewatch. Make sure to hit the gel. Nathan, can you help me? Thank you, Annabeth.
I'm helping you with
The-
shit.
Not after something like this.
Hit the bell so that you know when our videos comes up, especially this next one. I'm sure everybody's looking forward to it. Until then, guys, bye.
Bye.
420 subs.
Please.